Hello, welcome back to theCUBE here at the New York Stock Exchange CUBE studio, of course, Palo Alto and New York, connecting Wall Street and technology together. Part of the NYSE Wired. Nitin Wagh is here. He's the CEO and co-founder of Karini AI. We were just at the AWS Summit. We're back in our studio. Nitin, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Congratulations on the venture. Just talking about your history at AWS, Databricks, now this venture. You got to look at the AI wave right now. You've kind of seen it from the inside, early days of AWS. Now you got the PIN, big partner. Talk about the company. What do you do?
Yeah, so Karini, our mission is to put generative AI in production at enterprises. So to do so, what we do is we provide a no-code, low-code platform, sort of abstraction on top of the AWS infrastructure. So not just IT, but also line of business IT, business experts can build, operate, and manage generative AI. And we focus on time to market. A lot of our customers are from marketing department. I'm talking to lawyers, right? I'm talking to HR experts. So I've never in my life, I was always talking to data scientists, but with generative AI, guess what? We are talking to more domain experts, and they are quite essential for successful Gen AI projects.
You're targeting like real companies.
We are targeting real
users, average personas, a business person. So you're kind of hitting that productivity, business transformation use case.
All of our projects are about business productivity transformation, and they are mostly about business process automation. For example, some of the use cases we are doing at SageMaker, Southeast Texas, which is a huge fluid pipe parts manufacturing for oil and gas, aerospace. So we are doing sort of order to cash, ERP exception, business process automation. Customers said like it saved them $1 million just with that multi-agentic workflow. At another company, we are working with legal tech company where we are doing legal research, precedent citation matching. Then with engineering and construction company who responds to thousands of RFPs per year, we are automating the RFP response generation solution, which is super hard use case. You can imagine writing an essay and it has to be perfect. It has to be a winning combination. Right, so yeah, and
you don't want to miss a zero on those bids.
No way.
Accuracy is key. Well, let's zoom out. What's the product? Explain the product, how it's consumed. Obviously, you're making it simple and easy.
Yes.
To use agents. Okay, is it an agent platform? Take me through how the product is deployed. What is the key features?
Yeah, definitely. So if you think about an enterprise, today there are a lot of vendors, right? There are some vendors who are really good at model serving, observability.
Yeah.
Clouds themselves have their own like offerings, native services, or there are agentic frameworks, these LangChain, Llama Index, right? So there's just a lot of noise. But then these are like siloed offerings. They're really good in themselves. So enterprises are then often tasked with, hey, do I go to a SaaS, right? And give my data to them, or do I build an agentic platform? Like this is a classic, chaos within the enterprise, and they end up starting like to build a platform, right? And that takes millions of dollars, many months. By the time they build it, time has passed.
It's out of spec.
Yeah, it's like, things have moved on. Games have changed. So our value proposition is very simple. You deploy Karini AI, which comes with all the capabilities such as built-in observability, right? Agent building experience, tracking, FinOps element, knowledge base and knowledge graph creation. So all the essential elements that makes up for the agentic platform or within Karini, you deploy within your own VPC. So we are not like selling a SaaS. We have a SaaS, but that's good for demos and POC. Our model is we deploy in customers' AWS account in their VPC, so it can be entirely air-gapped. And then we enable their business users to build their own private AI. So that is like where we...
Are you guys only AWS?
Currently, we are only on AWS, but we build the platform on Kubernetes as a backend, so it can be...
You can be multi-cloud. Yeah. So what if the customer's cloud? They have another cloud, you can be on that.
So currently, our control plane only runs on AWS, but then they can connect to other model providers or other type of like offerings. Let's say you have customers, sometimes they want to use OpenAI or Azure OpenAI. They can connect from our cloud. But again, we are currently...
So you can play within Bedrock and SageMaker and the VPCs, air gap everything on Amazon. Great. But OpenAI is not in Bedrock. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's just a
Make
call.
an API call. We also support Google Vertex.
Yeah.
There are also private providers like Fireworks. So I think we believe in, it's ex-AWS team. So we believe in like customer choice.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
let the customer dictate.
Talk about your background at AWS. We were talking before we came on the podcast here. You were involved in SageMaker,
Yes.
which has gone through a transformation. I kind of like what it is now. I call it the power user, the advanced mode. But it really is tuning a lot of the infrastructure piece underneath Bedrock. Then there's a Bedrock piece, and Agent Core looked really good yesterday. Kiro looks fantastic. What's the evolution of SageMaker, and how does that stack? Because a lot of companies are coming out in this AI stack, I call it, for lack of a better word. The infrastructure is great.
Yeah.
So you got to tune that too. You got to play with that to get that operating properly. And yet all these tools are coming out to manage things like tokens.
Yep.
So you're seeing a lot of customization with code generation around tools.
Yes.
I was talking to a customer who said, yeah, we're more excited, less about agents. We love agents, but it's the tooling that allows us to manage the token costs.
Yeah.
Why go to a token call when you can build an abstraction in the LLM and manage non-related calls? Why would I call a LLM to do math?
No.
Right? Why waste tokens on that? So they're starting to get more, honed in on the design of the system on top of Bedrock and then SageMaker. How do you see that? Because I think that's a story that's not being told right now, where you got SageMaker tuning the infrastructure, and then you got the Bedrock side where the developers are managing how to configure the LLMs, whether it's going external to an API or managing it within Bedrock. What's your reaction to that? What do you see there?
Yeah. So what we have seen is when you start a use case, again, these are the tools that you should use based on your use case and your problem you're trying to solve. There's no need to analyze, paralyze too many. And typically, when you need fine tuning, right? You never start with fine tuning. If you start with fine tuning, you're making a mistake, right? When we start with our customers, we typically start with Bedrock, right? I mean, Karini platform, we select a problem, write a prompt, write an agent, and then, of course, as you said, tool ecosystem is very important, right? We always try to push down, things, because I don't want LLM to do processing. LLMs are not built for doing like data crunching, right? For example, I don't want LLM to do like knowledge graph, query execution. That is better done in Amazon Neptune. So we have actually built like a tool that is like a super tool, you can say. It does LLM creates a plan. Hey, extract from open search, some of the records, go to knowledge graph, build this query, do the transformation. So all of that is happening in tool. So you can free up LLM to just create a plan.
So leverage the reasoning piece of
piece, right? Rather than doing the heavy data crunching. So what we do is, your other question. So we typically start with Bedrock with the on-demand model, and then we sort of run the trial. Typically take golden question answers from customers, and then we have a evaluation harness. And if you see that all the techniques, for example, we also have prompt optimization. So you can optimize a prompt for a particular task, find the model, right? A combination. But sometimes you still cannot, get to your goal. You always have outlier edge cases. And that's when we definitely sort of talk about fine tuning. And that's where, we have built an abstraction on top of SageMaker. You can fine tune the model, and then you register that model into Bedrock for inference, because Bedrock is amazing for inference, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to manage. You just import the model package, and boom, you have an API that you can register from Karini, and it just magically works.
Yeah, it's having that AWS knowledge. It's almost like you're like a product team inside AWS, but you don't work there anymore.
Yes.
I love this abstraction with SageMaker. So you're essentially automating SageMaker to work with whatever's coming in off the top. You're basically building kind of a runtime, your own kind of, it's not a bad word, maybe more of an abstraction, intelligence layer.
Yeah, it's like a dev loop, right? We build a dev loop, which, customers don't see. It's literally like, hey, you want to sort of fine tune a model? We launch a job in SageMaker, because it's hard. Fine tuning, while it sounds simple,
it's not.
It's the whole developer loop. It's very time consuming. I don't think it's hard. It's time consuming.
Yeah.
All the pieces are there.
Yeah.
But we just want to make it faster so that time to market is easy, right? So you fine tune model. We launch a job in SageMaker through API. and that knowledge definitely helps, right?
Yeah.
My co-founder, she's also from ex-AWS. She was an ML specialist.
Yeah.
So it's like, a lot of AWS knowledge.
You have the working knowledge of all the buttons and knobs to push in SageMaker. And again, I call SageMaker the power mode. It's like the advanced mode. Like, don't go in there unless you like know what you're doing. You blow something up, if you will. Okay, so I love that angle. So I want to ask you a question because you, since you're Amazonian, former Amazonian, we'll use Amazonian speak for a minute here.
Yes.
So you provide all the undifferentiated heavy lifting around managing Bedrock, SageMaker, AI infrastructure, which is SageMaker interfaces into, policy-based, whatever you want to do, managing the infrastructure with the logic in the dev loop.
Yeah.
So when you go to the customer, say an engineering company who's just trying to win bids, they're like Excel users or using sheets. That's what they use.
Yes.
So you go to them and say, look, we got you covered. Import your logic. How are they interfacing into your dev loop? Like, so, I mean, you're doing probably some services with them, right? So I'm imagining that's part of the motion is you kind of come in, you deploy. But how do I leverage? Okay, here's a spreadsheet. How do I inject my logic into the Bedrock?
So I think it's a little nuanced question. It's a complicated answer. Bear with me. So typically what we do is we understand the business problem, and then map it out to a technical, what is the solution, right? AI. And we have an excellent AI engineering team. We are not a services company, product company, but what we believe is we want to make customers successful. So we also, during our first use case with the customer, we help them deploy that and take it to production, because only a successful customer can get us to a next use case, right? So that's very important.
Yeah.
So we map that business use case to a technical sort of, AI problem, and then we call it as a recipe, right? A recipe is like a canvas, or you can say it's a workflow under the hood, right? It's an agentic workflow. Yeah. You can okay, now I want to, user wants to ask questions, so it's a chat, right? I want to send an API, it's a webhook tile. And then
provisioning a workflow, basically.
It's a workflow, and a workflow can have different types of node. It can have a prompt node, agent node.
Yeah.
It can have a custom function, right? And then we map out that process. And then those users understand the process, right?
Yeah.
They may not understand. For example, in the engineering company, right? They have historical responses. They have bid data. Yeah. They have resumes, right? And they have all the win-loss history. So all these things they understand. So we just map that out on a recipe canvas, and then we take that process. We get alignment, and then we start building. And building is then you go to prompt playground and build those individual agents, test them, select the right model, version control them, and bring the real agents back to the canvas, and boom.
I like how you said you're not a services company, you're a product company. I love that. But again, Swami, when he gave his keynote yesterday, he had the big slide up there that said service as software.
Yeah.
That's essentially what you're doing. Your service is the software.
Service is the software.
So that's not software as a service. That's SaaS.
Yeah.
You have a SaaS demo platform.
Yes.
But that's just where the world's going. I mean, it looks like a professional search, I guess, but you're not hired to be a consultant. No. You're hired to essentially deploy agents.
Yes.
So you provision the service as a product team.
Totally. So, I mean, of course, we are a product company.
Of course, yeah.
A lot of people confuse us. So what we believe is we want to partner with, the SIs, system integrators, GSIs, and those partnerships are forming, because I think their model is also changing, right? They have to learn the new ways. Yeah. So the traditional way, and we have actually done multiple projects where, things have gone wrong with that traditional approach. And with our approach, things are faster, customer is a little bit enabled. So I think they have to also think about changing their model, because with Karini, you don't have a technical debt. There's nothing left, right? You can continue to iterate. A traditional approach, if you write code, it becomes a technical debt because soon it will be outdated. For example, when MCP came along in Jan, every customer of us thinking about hey, what do we do? Should we get rid of all the agentic workflows? I was no, let's not do that. Right? Let's understand, is it really helpful for you to implement MCP? And MCP had a lot of security holes back then.
Yeah.
So we took a very careful approach where we said okay, why don't you build an MCP registry, right? Where an administrator within an enterprise can only approve the tools or the servers, MCP servers that are authorized. Yeah. They're vetted and validated security-wise.
They're trusted.
You're trusted, and then you add them centrally, and then let the builders have access. And as an admin, you can control there's a security vulnerability. I'm going to disable this, and it's just...
I mean, it's a great protocol, but you have to take careful consideration for making it a node in the network.
Massive, because, there's just so many open source MCP tools. It's just tough to understand, like, it's like Hugging Face admit so many models. Which model you can trust, put in your enterprise.
Yeah, I mean, it's not technical debt, it's just bad design.
Just bad.
So technical debt is great, then you talk about that, but then the design side. All right, so I have to ask you, because this is one of the things we've been talking about on theCUBE a lot, is that we're entering a systems revolution, something that I've been saying for years. Now we're seeing it play out at Summit, which is kind of like a mini reInvent in my mind, because even though we're midpoint, kind of at the halfway point of the year, it feels like a lot's happened in the first 6 months. And then they had significant news. I mean, Nova, customization, obviously Agent Core. Even Jassy did a post this morning on that. He did a little video. And then obviously you got the marketplace making a dedicated section for agents and tools. So that's significant. Over 100 people launching with it. That's pretty large considering their last launch with SaaS was only like a handful. Then Chris Cruz and I talked about that yesterday. So if I look at Agent Core, the builders now have to be systems thinkers. What's your take on this? Because I think this system mindset is an Amazonian concept. It's distributed computing.
Yeah.
Old school computer science principles are in play.
Yeah, I mean, Agent Core is a brilliant idea. If you look at all those cubes that are out there, that is actually a Karini platform. It's just that we have an abstraction, low-code, no-code abstraction on top of those Agent Core. So the beauty is, AWS always, I was part of the other side. So I know like AWS has like thousands of engineers. They build like beautiful things, right? Observability, for example. We have our own observability, right? Where we package a data warehouse under the hood, and then sort of stream. And then so that's how customers get FinOps and other things. Guess what? Now AWS has observability. We may swap out that piece that Agent Core already provides because it's a siloed capability, which is really nice for, someone like
you get optionality.
We get optionality.
Yeah.
Right. And then we can push down. For example, within Karini, we started with having our own open search, for vector database. But soon we realized, why manage OpenSearch when Amazon has Amazon OpenSearch? So we sort of migrated all of customers to Amazon OpenSearch. So we will sort of start swapping out some of the components as they mature. Yeah. It's very important that these components are mature because we have customers in production. Yeah. We want to have those mature components.
You're essentially refreshing the stack and the capabilities with best of breed in the platform.
It's platform because it's all about scale, right? I mean, I know Amazon is really good at scale. We have some scalable workload. Like for example, in legal tech, working with a customer, they have 3 million precedents. So that's a lot of data. We're talking about, probably 15, 20 days of processing time. I would rather, outsource that to a managed service like Agent Core.
Yeah. All right, talk about the business. When you started the company, obviously you guys came together. What was the original vision of the company, the origination, and where are you now? What's been the biggest change? Just the robustness of the software, scalability, demand. What's from the origination point to now? Take us through that.
Yeah, so when we started the company, actually, Deepali, co-founder, she started the company. I joined her later, but the idea was, she was like one of the early engineers in, the machine learning. She knew about Bedrock. But the idea was like, AWS is really good at creating developer tools. But what if we enable the business experts, right? And that was like a missing gap. So the goal was to when we started, I think it was about RAG, right? There were no agents.
Yeah, exactly.
So we just build a really awesome, easy to use RAG. You can build in 10 minutes. And customers just loved it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, agent came along and we quickly pivoted to agents. But we always kept our theme as a platform, right? A lot of our, other companies, they pivoted from different businesses to platform or platform to some other business, right? Vertical business. So we always kept our...
Well, you still have the RAG now?
We still have a RAG, but now it has changed into agentic RAG.
I mean, it's really not a pivot. A pivot is a stop and turn. You guys just extended off to agents because it's a natural.
Yeah, it's a natural extension. So we added then we started with RAG, we added agents, then we added knowledge graphs, and then I always believe that AI is only as good as the data it can see, right? Yeah. So RAG is always important. And then there are different types of RAGs. There's a knowledge graph, there's knowledge base, and we always believe that if we can industrialize the system of record, which is your knowledge graph or knowledge base, that is going to be phenomenal. Yeah. So we have been working very hard in engineering under the hood because, people see this platform, they see it's like, okay, it's no code, low code canvas. I always tell our customers, it's also a workflow under the hood because we also migrated from sort of a siloed single node to distributed array. Array is the best thing in technology that can happen because I want to scale to like millions of records. So customers, they should not be upper bound.
Great to have you on, and I really appreciate you coming into our studio. I have to ask you, if you had to describe the biggest surprises or activities that have happened in the first half of the year, what would they be? What were some of the big moments in this year that kind of changed the game, moved the needle, if you will, or raised the bar? And then what's your plan for the second half?
Yeah, is it for Karini or...
Karini, and just industry and you guys, both.
Yeah. So I think with Karini, we are actually working with meaningful, Gen AI use cases across the board, right? With different domain experts, variety of, industry units. We're really good at manufacturing. We have actually captured and done all type of use cases for manufacturing, automotive, and industrial, which is typically not a leading sector, but they are leading in like Gen AI.
They got a lot of labeling. They got a lot of
labeling, a lot of that, data, machine data, a lot of, manufacturing, unstructured data, what we call unstructured data. So they are like, we are having amazing success there. So first half has been like really good for us because we did strategic collaboration agreement with AWS, which like unlocks a lot of doors for us.
Yeah.
Co-marketing event. That's why probably I'm here. We did like Gen AI competency. That was like late last year. Then we just launched Agent yesterday. We were right next to Anthropic in terms of, that slide.
Yeah.
But we launched our first agent and we learned a lot about like agent. We were on marketplace, but this is our first on-demand agent where you understand like, billing, metering and all those things. Now we have all the orchestration. We can build, many more agents. So second half of the year, what we are going to focus on is like solutions, right? So for example, we have this order to cash use case. Now, maybe we'll come up with a solution for ERP exception, right? As a whole. So it can solve like procure to pay, order to cash, record to remit, all these problems. So we are going to focus a lot on verticalized use cases, but we will still continue to keep our platform theme.
Yeah.
But, it will be a sort of abstraction.
You're going to continue to get that horizontal use case of all Gen AI wherever possible, and then start targeting the vertical apps or use cases where the domain expertise are, where you can import or have the clients bring their workflows in.
Yeah, we'll give them a starter pack, and then we believe like AI has to be customized for their needs.
Yep.
Right? Not every customer is same, right? If someone's telling you like, hey, I can just put one agent that will solve all world hunger, it's not gonna happen. You have to look at the data. Data is veracity. It has variety. So you have to customize that AI.
Well, great to have you on. Final question: what do you think about the summit this year? It was kind of a mini reInvent. I think that's my view. You probably agree with that. It's kind of usually it's active anyway. It's a big event. It's free, and we're in New York. Everyone's here.
Yeah,
what's your takeaway?
I've been attending. I've spoke at many summits, reInvent. I think this is surreal because all the launches that I've seen yesterday, and Swami was very energetic.
Yeah.
Even Rohit's, the Nova launch, I was very excited about Nova's, inference that is on demand with fine-tuned models, right? That has been a key challenge for customers, and I've been very vocal about that, and they finally launched it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna use S3 for index. That's huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
Right? A customer, we are processing 3 million indexes. Why not use S3? S3 is so cheap.
It's so close to the storage.
So all the launches are amazing. I think this is more than reInvent.
Yeah.
I'm sure reInvent.
A lot of meat on the bone on this one. I got to say, a very strong. I said to the Agent Core product lead, I said, if this is the midpoint reveal, reInvent, usually they save the best for reInvent. So if this is a teaser, reInvent's going to be massive.
It's massive. I can't wait to see it.
Super intelligence coming at the reInvent.
I'm sure they will, innovate a lot on Nova. A lot of the offerings, typically AWS does it like MVP.
Yeah.
But, it's a surprise that they launched it as a GA offering. I was thinking it's preview, but looks like everything is GA, which is surprising. So they're moving at a very fast.
Did you get access to some of the betas?
Yeah, we got some access to the betas. Especially Nova and So
well, then congratulations. We'll keep following you, and thanks for coming in. And congratulations. Thanks for coming on theCUBE. I'm John Furrier. We're here in our New York Stock Exchange CUBE studio, of course, bringing all the action here with AWS Summit happening this week in New York, and of course This is our media week, AI meets cloud. As Gen AI starts to go into production, you're starting to see real use cases and visibility into the economics. The value extraction is starting to be there. Obviously, the value creation is full throttle. Again, thanks for watching. We'll be right back.